Hello guys. Well, with the transfer window coming to a close, there's been one player who's been in the news constantly, who everyone seems to be talking about. Where is he going to go? Is he going to stay? Is he going to leave? To which team? Who can afford him? And that player is Neymar. Now, actually, I've been wanting to make this video because I've been looking at Neymar's situation, and I've actually started to wonder if maybe Neymar has put himself in a position where he has severely hurt his career. I mean, almost to the point of ruining it, to be honest. I mean, here's a guy who became one of the most exciting talents to come out of Brazil. He made his debut in 2009. Shortly thereafter, he was a first team starter. He was so good, in fact, that in the following season in 2010, he was constantly scoring goals and showboating and showing all his skills and his ability, that there was actually a petition made by fans to have him included into the 2010 World Cup squad for Brazil. Dunga refused, but even people like Pelé came out and spoke and advocated for him to be included into the squad. You know, his journey from then on has just been nothing but skyrocketed. The following season, 2011, he was one of the main players in the Santos squad to go to the Copa Libertadores final, winning it for Santos for the first time since 1963 with Pelé in the squad, and all the hype around him as he was constantly considered the new Pelé, the new Robinho, in a legendary Santos squad, and he just seemed to be a future star that just could not be stopped. He stayed in for Santos a little longer. He was highly paid. He was receiving ridiculous wages for a Brazilian player. Even his wages rivaled some of those European players, and it was clear that his career was going to be in a bigger team outside of Brazil and one of the biggest teams of the world. He had bids from the likes of Chelsea, from West Ham, and he was even linked with Real Madrid since he was 14, since a youngster. I mean, this kid was destined for greatness from a very, very young age. And then things progressed quickly. By the age of 20, he had 100 goals at the club level. He was consistently playing well for his national team by that point, even being part of the 2012 Olympic squad that made it to the final. Although they didn't win, this was just a clear sign of Neymar's greatness. It was just non-stop success. He left for Barcelona in 2013. That was his last season for Santos, and it was no doubt that in Europe, in Barcelona, he would be even more successful. Now, he went on to Barcelona having a decent first season in 2014, but it also was one of the bigger years for him since the World Cup was going on, and he was really the main guy for Brazil. He was the future. He is the future. He still is one of the main players, if not the main player for Brazil. But unfortunately, we all know what happened in the World Cup. He simply got an unfortunate injury that left him out for the rest of the tournament, and then Brazil, got smacked down by Germany in that infamous 7-1 defeat. Later on in that season, since it was his first in Spain, it was understandable his numbers weren't super amazing, but this kid already had a clear trajectory of success, even going as far as winning several awards before he went to Barcelona. He had featured in the Club World Cup final against Barcelona, and even though they lost that final, everyone around the world had already known about him. It was understandable his first season in Barcelona wasn't going to be that great, but it was definitely impressive. He scored important goals, did well in the Champions League. He even scored and assisted in his first ever Clásico game. Everything just seemed bright for him. It was becoming clear that he should be the heir to the Messi throne. Once Messi was out of Barcelona, or once Messi retired, it was clear that Barcelona had a player to take over, and that player would be Neymar. Now, Neymar went on to have probably his most successful season with Barcelona that following year. 2014-2015 season would end up being his best season by far in Barcelona, and his most successful season as well. He went on to play 51 games, scoring 39 goals and having 10 assists, along with winning the treble for Barcelona. Something incredible, he was actually even third for the Ballon d'Or that year. I mean, everything seemed to be making sense. Everyone knew this guy was meant to be the heir to the throne, but it seemed to all go downhill for him after that for some reason. I think he just started maybe focusing too much on other things besides improving as a football player. I mean, we all know he likes to party. We all know Brazilians like to party, and that's you can make whatever of that, if you will. We all know that Neymar definitely trains hard. We all know that he definitely has the talent and skill, and we can argue of whether or not he should have done more in terms of preparing himself physically and adapting mentally to the demands of higher level football. And it all seemed to not work out for him in the end. I mean, he just wanted to be the main guy at Barcelona, and with Messi not slowing down at all and Ronaldo as well not slowing down at all, Neymar was just stuck as a second place in Barcelona. Even though he was part of that famous MSN trio, I feel like he just wanted all the shine for himself, and you can decide whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. Personally, I don't see anything wrong with it. He wanted to prove himself. He wanted to show the world, hey, I'm that guy. I'm the guy who can bring you the Champions League. I'm the guy who can win you the league. I'm the guy who can score big goals and provide, important assists. And we saw him do things like that for Barcelona, even in that famous victory over PSG, where they came back to win 6-1 with Neymar scoring crucial goals and providing the assist to the final goal that saw them make that comeback, and probably the greatest ever comeback in the Champions League in terms of goals deficit for sure. But following that, he left. He decided to leave in probably the most outrageous, outlandish transfer of all time, the PSG £222 million or euros, I believe. And it just, it was a shock. I mean, he had everything at Barcelona. He left, and everyone kind of saw it as, okay, maybe Neymar wants to be the main guy. Okay, that's fine. He goes to PSG. They didn't need him to win the league. I mean, they were doing that without him. They didn't need him to win the domestic cup. They didn't need him for that. They brought him there to win the Champions League. That's what they wanted. That's what they brought him in for. And you could say it's bad luck, or you could blame it on his style of play, but Neymar's been plagued by injuries. He's been having crucial injuries that have left him out of very important Champions League matches, whether it was last season against Manchester United or the match against Real Madrid where he wasn't available. And these weren't just, minor injuries. These were actually severe injuries. And if you look at the transfer saga, Real Madrid's been involved in trying to bring him over. And they actually want guarantees about his injuries. They want guarantees about his right foot. They want to make sure it's okay. And Real Madrid have asked PSG if they could provide any guarantees about the fitness of Neymar. They don't want to spend so much money on a player who will have a chronic problem with that right ankle and that right foot. I believe he broke his metatarsal, if I know how to pronounce that. But this guy, it's just, he had everything and he left, and now he wants to come back. It's almost like he himself knows that his time is running out. I mean, I know he still seems like he's a young player, but at 27, about to be 28, it's just, what does he have to show for himself in terms of individual success? The success he had at Barcelona, you can attribute a lot of that to that legendary MSN trio with Messi, Suarez. Even before that, I mean, when they did win that treble, they still had Xavi in the midfield and Iniesta. So he's really been surrounded by great players, and as soon as he went to PSG, we saw him kind of struggle to really live up to the potential that we all think he has, to live up to the Messi, to the Ronaldo records. And it hasn't worked out for him, and now he wants to come back to his comfort zone. Now he wants to come back to a place where he doesn't have to be the guy. He knows that he has Messi next to him, and he knows that he can win a lot of trophies, but at 27, at 28 now, what does he have in his career? He has a Copa Libertadores, a Brazilian championship. He has a Confederations Cup, an Olympic gold medal with Brazil, but a lot of that comes down to his teammates, especially in Europe. I mean, in Santos, this guy was unstoppable. He was the guy. He was a goal scorer nonstop, had 100 goals by the age of 20. He was the most marketable player in South America, winning South American Player of the Year 2 years in a row. He was untouchable, and then he goes to Europe, and it's not like he struggled, but he just realized that maybe there are other players who can do more than he can, or maybe he just doesn't want to be the sole provider of those big moments. he hasn't been able to participate in the big tournaments due to injuries, and his time is not necessarily coming to an end, but he's getting older, and these next few years are going to really determine how great of a player Neymar was, because his career is coming to an end. Whether you may think, oh, it's still a little too early, yeah, he still has more years, but if he remains at PSG, if no club can buy him or he can't leave, what does he have to really show at the end of the day? The Champions League, yes, but with who? With MSN, right? Messi, Neymar, Iniesta, Xavi, Suarez. It was a great team for him to be a part of. Now, for Brazil, it's probably even more complicated. He is their golden boy, but he wasn't part of that Copa America squad that recently won that tournament in the World Cup. He just hasn't been able to perform. 2014, we know he had that injury, but in the 2018 World Cup, what went wrong for him? It's kind of hard. I know we can't really blame everything on him. They got eliminated by Belgium. He had a decent tournament, but this is what I'm talking about. He's supposed to be the guy to take over for Messi and Ronaldo, and to be fair, Messi and Ronaldo haven't really done that well for their national teams in the World Cup. I know Messi did well in 2014. He did well in the group stages. Later on in the rounds of elimination, you can argue he disappeared, whatever. Ronaldo, this recent World Cup 2018, he did everything he could. He played amazingly well, but he could only take them so far. So it's kind of unfair for Neymar as well, but he really has been amazing for Brazil, or he was supposed to be amazing for Brazil. He has an amazing record for Brazil, one of the top goal scorers for Brazil of all time, and he's still only 27, but he still has not brought them anything in terms of major tournaments. You can argue the Confederations Cup, but at the end of the day, it's not really a super competitive tournament. I don't even think they won the Copa America to participate in that tournament. They were just in it because they were the host of the 2014 World Cup, but he still did well. He still did amazing for them. But like I said, at the end of the day, looking back at Neymar's career so far, if you put him alongside the greats or alongside Ronaldo and Messi, who he's constantly compared to, Messi and Ronaldo are just far better than him. Their records, their achievements, just Neymar doesn't come close at all. And Neymar hasn't even been in the conversation for the top 3 best players recently. It's just his injuries have set him back, his attitude has set him back, and it looks like he needs to go to a big team again to show that he can play, instead of really taking the team and putting it on his back and leading them to glory like PSG thought he would do. Alright guys, thanks for watching. I know this video came out a little bit late, but I still believe that Neymar is in danger of ruining his career. If you agree or disagree, please let me know in the comments down below. Thank you guys again for watching. I'll see you guys on the next vid.